So I wanted to release a video giving you guys a timeline of why my family is dead, why I'm not gonna have a home, and who did it to me. Because I want everyone to know what they did and the lies they've told me. So, it starts in 2021. Starts a couple months before August. My dad sends off the mortgage checks to the seller as normal. Well, the checks stopped getting cashed. In fact, they stopped getting cashed for about 5 or 6 months. No cashed. My dad calls, there's no answer. He calls, there's someone who claims to be Debbie Shook, but my dad said that does not sound like Debbie Shook. I've talked to her, I talked to her recently. That is not her voice. Uh, so he doesn't get any hold of anybody. Asks, just wants Debbie Shook to come and talk to him to figure out what's going on. Well, she doesn't. No one does. No one shows up. No one talks to my dad. No one sends a letter. No one questions why the checks are not being cashed. Well, I find out later something, but I'll tell you that along the line. Now, he stops paying in October. Cut to January. My dad has delved into a deep depression, a very deep depression. He 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 tried to kill himself once before, long time ago. And yeah, I know my beard's unruly right now. I was about 13, 14 when he tried. But this time, he was just afraid of losing the house, being homeless. He figured he was losing disability soon. He wouldn't be able to afford the house anyways. If it continued on, he wouldn't be able to, you know, wouldn't be able to pay for his family to continue to live. Now I feel the worst about this because about 10 years ago I was working at the local county jail and I developed a herniated disc in my spine, pushed on my sciatic nerve. I also developed a severe stress reaction where I stopped breathing anytime I got stressed. I got so stressed from that job that I literally stopped breathing. And I had to go to the hospital, and I was sent to the emergency room, and I spent hours in the emergency room just unconscious with them yelling at me that I need to breathe, and I just couldn't. And at that point, from that point on, anytime I got extremely stressed out, I would just stop breathing. Now, because I didn't have a job, I floated around from friend's couch to friend's couch looking for work, and I'd find work, but my back would give out on me, and it'd be in such excruciating pain that I would cry myself to sleep. And so this went on for a while until I finally ended up having to move back home with my parents, and I started my YouTube channel, and I continued to try and find work online and things like that, but it never worked out for me. I never found anything, and I've still tried, and I'm still trying. I've got 32 applications out on Indeed, and I can't find any work. So it makes me feel like if I had just been able to find something, this never would have happened, but here we are. So cut to after January, my father takes out my family and everything. Says exactly why in his note. Police won't let me have the note back. They told me that it's against policy to let the family have the suicide note. Of course it is. Apparently that's not normal. So a few months later, well, the next month in February, I get a lawyer because I'm like, hey, I need to know what I need to do. What do I need to do to take over? Who do I need to talk to? Everything like that. And he's like, all right, well, you need to go hold of any other potential heirs and things like that. And it's like, okay, I'm going to do that. Then I get a letter from this lady Susie Gaddis. She tells me that her mom is Debbie Shook, and she has the title to my parents' home. So I'm like, okay, well, I have a lawyer. Everyone's telling me, dude, send that to your lawyer. Let him take care of it. I was like, okay, so I do. Well, she gets a lawyer. Comes after me. Trying to get a mortgage payment. Says my parents passed due. I was like, well, my parents are dead. But the first thing we do is I try to get a hold of her, and she has one lawyer, and that lawyer is willing to make a deal with my lawyer. In fact, he asked my lawyer what I was willing to do. I was like, hey, I'm willing to do $500, $700 a month, pay off, what's currently owed. Just prove to me what's left on the house. I just need to know what's left on the house. So that lawyer drops the case. Her lawyer drops the case. Says, wouldn't get back to my lawyer. My lawyer finally gets a hold of me. He's like, no, I didn't take the case. Decided not to. So right away, sounds like something's fishy going on. Next lawyer, he takes the case. And from that point on, it is absolute refusal to work with me in any way. If it is not outright full payment of $9,000, which is all of the back mortgage that they said they owed, then no deal. All right, well, I can't pay that. Okay, well, now you owe $75,000. I'm like, look, I'm disputing that number. I want to know what is left. What is the exact amount left on this house? $75,000. That's what you owe, plus all the other bells and whistles, lawyer fees and blah 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 blah. Okay, well, they didn't put any of those down. They didn't write down the fees. They didn't give me an itemized account. They didn't give me payment histories. They didn't give me anything to prove that $75,000 was the actual number that was left. You know what they told me? After my lawyer dropped me, by the way, my lawyer dropped me 4 days before the sale. So I call up Susie, and she tells me if I hadn't gotten a lawyer, she would have made a deal with me. She also tells me that telling me that $75,000 was left was basically proving how much was left. Now, she says that the sheriff has all this information, but I haven't seen it. I haven't been given it. My lawyer hasn't seen it. So somebody's lying to me. Somebody is lying to me. I've lost my home. I've lost my family. I've lost everything because somebody is lying to me. And then I overhear at the auction some things. One of the things was them laughing about this whole situation. When I had a breakdown and they laughed. Do I know if they laughed at me? I don't know. But do you honestly feel as a person, as a human being, that this person clearly just lost their home, they lost their family, they are breaking down and crying, and you're just like, whatever, we got a house. There's so much crap that happened. There's so much crap that is shady and messed up. And I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? All this is public information. It's all public record. It's the only reason I'm saying it. It's public record. It's out there. They decided to publish in the newspaper my parents' debt, which is illegal. Can't do that. FTC says you cannot publicly notify anyone of someone else's debt. They put explicitly in the newspaper, this is an attempt to collect a debt. Can you believe that shit? Can you believe that? I can't. So if you know a lawyer, or if you have a family member that's a lawyer, or if you have a friend that's a lawyer, send this to them. Let them know. I want everyone to know exactly who these people are. That this all could have been stopped if they had just come by the house and talked to my father. If they had just called my father and explained the situation. They said that Debbie Shook was in a nursing home because she has dementia, but apparently she's a regular at Hardee's here in town. So, I'm being lied to by somebody. And I'm not very happy. Because I lost everything to greedy bastards that just wanted to make a quick buck. Didn't care how. And punished me for getting a lawyer because I had to. Because the law of Missouri states that a house has to go through probate. And I never got to put it through probate. Yeah, never got to put it through probate. Isn't that great? Has to go through probate. Never got to. So I hope, I pray that a lawyer gets back to me and something can be done. Yeah. Anyways, that's my story. It's a long video, I know. And I'm not going to make any cuts or anything because I'm too upset. So I'll see you later. Bye.